It's May 13th, 2022, and welcome to episode 69 of the BABYMETAL podcast. We gather in the podcast Discord server on something like every 3 or 4 weeks to discuss news and thoughts on the past and future projects of BABYMETAL. We invite you to join us, whether you're a longtime fan or have only just arrived. I am Paul, and I am joined by Kevin.
This is my other greeting.
And Maggie.
How you all doing?
All right. The news has been sort of slow to come, and so, there's stuff to talk about by now, though. So I think when we last left off, we'd sort of gone in, if we were going in, on the other one, Black Box, and we knew a little bit, but not very much. The Black Boxes had not yet arrived. And since then, the Black Boxes have arrived. And
yes.
And now we know more, but still not a lot.
Right, exactly.
True.
So
well,
we can talk a little bit about what the Black Box is like, about what we know of the other one, Digital Gallery. So those are the main topics for this time. There hasn't been a whole lot of stuff other than that. There were a couple of things that I thought we could maybe talk a little bit about. One happened a little while ago. Friend of the podcast, AJ Hartley, running out of material altogether, decided to do a video about 3 BABYMETAL themed cocktails. Did you guys see this?
Actually, I hadn't. I keep forgetting to, because it sounds interesting, because I like those little mixer videos and stuff. There's a dude on YouTube, is Max Miller, Tasting History. He also does drinking history, which is really cool. So I was interested in it, but I keep forgetting.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I saw that it happened, but have not watched the video yet.
I didn't have a whole lot of expectation going in, but it's really pretty interesting. I mean, he takes it very seriously and shows you how to do all the things. And if you're at all interested in this, even just a little bit, it's interesting to watch. I mean, I'm not going to try to make them, but he put a lot of thought into which things to mix together. He posts the recipe that he followed to do it, and so there are 3. I'm not sure if he's going to do more, but there are at least those 3. I forget what they were based on.
I mean, if he had a popular video viewing, he should do some more. I think that'd be neat.
Yeah.
I mean, there's plethora of BABYMETAL themed stuff to do, so I mean, it wouldn't be a bad idea to continue on that path.
Yeah. Anyway, I thought it was neat how much thought he put into it, actually, and how seriously he did it. Because that was not really what I was expecting, even though, of course, he always does things seriously. But I mean,
well, he is a professor.
Okay. The other thing is actually really quite new, which is that
today new.
Yeah, as we record today, which is that F-Hero posted on his various sites this photo of him, and I should have actually pulled this up. It's him and Koba and someone else, and I forgot who the someone else is, but
started with an M, I think.
Yeah, their Instagram is just a bunch of photographs. So in my mind, I thought of him as a photographer, but I mean, Instagram always is, but it looked like artful photography. But anyway, the point was essentially that F-Hero has come to Japan. And I think this is in advance, actually, of some kind of tour or something like that, and connected with BABYMETAL. And they announced the availability, I guess, of these crossover merch items. So
yeah, I mean, they're nifty looking. The logo is pretty cool, although the way that the logo is set, and me as a former graphic design student, I can't say professional at all. It's really nice, the little logo. It's the circular logo. The only complaint that I personally have, if this is something for F-Hero himself, he should have put himself on the top portion of it, because on the top portion around the circle it says BABYMETAL, and then on the bottom portion it says F-Hero.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in the middle, so it's sort of like the letters are kind of Roman letters around the outside, and then in the middle there's this sort of 2 intersecting diamonds. One kind of looks like it has arrowheads on it, and it says BXF in the middle. So even in that logo in the middle, BABYMETAL's before F-Hero.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, they're sort of nondescript, but they're and I do think that they're essentially F-Hero merch. I mean, this is in support of F-Hero's
Oh, for sure.
activities in Japan. But anyway, it's interesting. I have to say that I'm assuming and hoping that this is basically the extent of the collaboration, because I think we already had Papaya, and I don't think we need more of that.
Oh, I mean, I don't know. I find it Papaya was pretty cool, and I wouldn't mind more of that, to be honest, myself. But yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess having a second collaboration with somebody, that suddenly seems like, no, I mean, unless he's joining the band.
Well, unless they're doing something with him instead of the other way around, like they did with Papaya.
Yeah, that's possible.
I mean, like
Kingslayer.
Exactly.
Yeah, that could be.
Now, as far as the merch in and of itself is concerned, though, like, I don't know. I felt like, I guess if it's in relation to a tour or something, that's all fine and dandy. But I don't know. I felt like this kind of maybe came a little too late. But
well, I don't think the tour's. I don't know when the tour is starting, but
well, I mean, as far as like for, I don't know, baby metal fans finding that interesting, I guess. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of people who are fans of his, and I liked him. He's a pretty cool guy. But as far as like the merch stuff is concerned, I don't know. It just, I don't know, seemed really odd timing to me. I mean, obviously, you said it's a connection with a tour, but I still find it to be just slightly off.
Yeah.
My opinion.
Yeah, so the what's interesting about this is that essentially you pay 770 yen for 1 or 10 times that for 10 items, and what items you get is basically by lottery. So you can't say I would like a shirt and I would like a card.
Oh,
you say I would like 3 things or 10 things, and then it's a draw basically as to what of those things you actually get. So there's an A2 sized limited collaboration art is the highest tier thing, and there are only 30 of those. And postcards, there are 12,000.
Oh, see, I totally misunderstood. I thought this whole entire thing was like purchasable, like everybody can get one sort of merch sort of stuff.
No.
I'll see. I totally. Oh, well, that
Gotcha
makes,
merch.
Yeah.
It's pretty it's pretty strange. So who knows? I mean, I don't think this is really designed for anyone outside Japan. But
yeah, I don't think so either, really. Now that you're saying that, it's gotcha merch is yeah, that's a good descriptor, Kevin.
So anyway, it's interesting. Before we knew exactly what this was about, we there was a little bit of speculation about what F-Hero would be doing. I have one other possible the collaboration between them that wouldn't bother me too much that I might mention later when we talk about what we know about the gallery. But
okay.
Okay. Is there anything else? Anything else that we wanted to talk about before we start diving into the black box?
Not that I'm aware of.
I don't think so.
Okay. Of course, if you are still getting the box, and you could still be getting the box because there is a second wave of purchases on the box, but those are only going to ship in July. If you somehow don't want to hear about what's in the box, stop listening now, because we're Okay.
Well, I think it's a little okay. Yeah.
All right. The black box arrived.
It's fuzzy.
Yeah.
It's pretty. I like the outside box. It's really nice. Yeah, it's like a faux velvet outside, like, ooh, it's nice and soft to the touch, and the one logo is like not embellished, but like
embossed, maybe.
Embossed.
That's the word I was looking for. I'm very tired this evening when I'm talking, so bear with me, y'all. But yeah, it's embossed in there in nice black lettering, and it's just pretty, and it's a kind of a big box too. That was kind of unexpected. But yeah, it's nice. It's thick. It feels like good quality. Yeah, the outside's really nice.
Solid box. Would use again.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
I mean, and I think there was a fair amount of, I don't know, grumbling about how much this box cost. That if what you were really what I was expecting was a code and a couple postcards, and this exceeded those expectations by an order of magnitude.
Yes.
So
that is very true.
It's possible that if it didn't have the code in it, it's the code that gets you into the other one, digital gallery, then it might be too expensive. But
yeah, I might agree. Yeah, actually, I would agree.
I don't know if I can make that judgment without seeing the rest of the digital gallery.
Well, I guess that's
fair
what
enough.
I was saying. Like if you took out the digital gallery and just talked about the box with the photo cards in it, which we haven't mentioned yet, it's even that by itself is almost worth what it cost, I think.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah, there we go.
But okay, so there were one of the sort of startling things about this was we knew there were going to be photo cards, but there were a lot of photo cards, and they were pretty big too.
Yes, they're big. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with all of them except for keep them in the box. For the most part, I might hang one or two of them up. But yeah, that the quality of them is fantastic. It's very well worth the money. It really is. Just the photo cards alone are really, really awesome. It's really cool because how many cards are in there again, y'all?
There are 50. 5 for each concept of in that carousel we were talking about last time. Yeah.
That was a lot of that's a lot of pictures.
Yeah.
So they had fun doing photo shoots that had to have been at least 2 days worth. Like that was just so many. But anyway, no, it's really cool because as Paul said, there was 5 for each theme, which is currently 10 themes in the gallery or whatever. There's at least one picture in each set of the duo, and then the other pictures are either just Sue or just Moa. Right. Something kind of nifty that I found was that the duo cards, they were more matte form, like the quality of the paper was matte, and then all the rest of the ones in that set were like a glossy. So they even had a difference in texture for the cards themselves. And then not only that, but the duo cards had the theme of the cards on the back side. So really, in like all honesty, if you're looking at it from beginning to end, you really don't want to try to take it out of order.
Yeah, you can. Although you can tell what the order is supposed to be afterwards. But yeah, because there's they have those quotes. We had those little bits of English or whatever, like on the back of Mirror. It says, "Question everything. Justice may be evil. Evil may be justice." Again, without the gravity that Kevin wanted. But the other thing too about the duo cards is that they I think in all cases don't have a black border around them, so they go all the way up to the edge in a way that the other ones don't.
Okay.
They are pretty consistent. They it's always basically a duo on the top card, and then one of Sue, one of Moa, a closer one of Sue, and a closer one of Moa. Some of these duo cards are quite arty. I mean, like they're also quite photoshopped in some cases, but
Although something that excited me, and I'm sure you guys thought it when you saw it, but there was a better look at those jackets on the one theme.
On Throne.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Oh, I love it so much. It's kind of obvious. It's somewhat obvious, but it's somewhat not. I It's definitely a full outfit, but I would be very surprised if they actually perform in those.
Yeah,
there's no way.
There's no way. They are full on like military art uniforms. You would die performing in those things.
Yeah,
but
probably.
They are so cool. They are absolutely just cool. And I will continue to say so. Like, I really would love to make those. Like, I really want to make them in the worst way. But, maybe if we get like concert announcements and stuff, then I might consider it. But right now, I just can't do it. but I want to.
You know enough? Like, you can see enough to make them?
Yeah. There is, because the original released photo had the distortion over the top of it, so you couldn't really see like the bottom portion. But now the bottom portion, the inside portion of the skirt, and then of course the neck piece with the little diamond in the middle of it, those are taken from, once again, following along the lines of the designs taking from the prior outfits. Those are what the pieces that are being taken from the prior outfits. It's the neck piece, the V diamond, and the bottom skirt portion. And of course, all the rest of it is new. But yeah, so you do see a good solid bit of the outfit now. So, but yeah, no, those, I'd be surprised if those are being performed in.
Yeah, as you were talking about that, I was looking at the throne cards, and there, I mean, those are, you can tell it's sort of the same photo shoot that we saw from their artist image. But there's one really quite funny thing that I observed about the first Sue solo one, which I dropped it in the chat. But somebody pointed this out, and now I can't unsee it, because just the way the shadows are and things like this on this, you can see there's a sort of a little highlight on Sue's dress, which makes it look like she has very short little legs.
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
jeez. Oh, for the love of Pete.
Well, to be fair, she does have short little legs.
Yeah, but
These people are tiny.
This really looks like comical.
Wow.
What was it? I'm trying to remember. There was a long time ago. I think it was Tim Conway did some skit which lived on way longer than it was supposed to. But it involved him being like a golf player and walking around on his knees with shoes on them, so that it sort of looked like he had very stubbly little feet. His name was something. It was gosh, Gorf or something like that was the name he went by. In the chat, we have been told it was Dorf. Anyway, so that's what Sue looks like in this case. For all those people old enough to have any idea what I'm talking about.
I have no idea, but still.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. So I don't know what things we should talk about in these. I mean, it doesn't make a lot of sense to talk about every card or even, I don't know, every theme. Cavalry has horses.
They're on horses. It is
True.
rather nice. They look really cool.
Yeah, they're wearing they're the one capes and hanging out on horses. It does seem to be the case that they are different horses. Like, I don't think there was one horse that they're both sitting on.
Oh, okay. That's very specific.
Well, no, I mean, you could imagine a photo shoot, they wouldn't get two horses. They would just take the photos with them on the horse. But
yeah.
But it does seem like they're different. Like, because one has sort of a white spot on it that is at least different than the white spot on the other horse. So.
I see. Okay. Fair enough.
Interesting catch. I did not catch that.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Makes me wonder about the logistics of this.
Yeah. Well, and so much of these are composed. I mean, like, particularly those duo shots, it's them in front of like some sort of apocalyptic landscape or whatever, it's clearly they didn't recreate that. They might have actually had those transparent coffins for coffin.
Those look like those
real.
are actual props.
Yeah. Very static images. They're not dynamic at all. They're just
no, not really
frozen there in coffin.
They're well produced, though. I will say that it's a very well produced set. You know, the artistry behind it, it's really nice. Good posing, interesting lighting, well printed. Like it definitely feels like a premium product. Like I got my money's worth.
Yes.
And I will say that if something like this is what we can expect from whatever is after the other one as like an annual membership, like the jump in quality is definitely commensurate to the jump in price.
Yeah.
I would much rather spend another $40 a year or whatever and get something of this level than another shirt that looks the same as the shirt before it.
Yeah.
And the shirt before it.
I guess I'm the only one who's... I'm not.
They all look the same.
I love my shirts, but I like them. They're cool. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I also don't need any more shirts, though.
I was going to say, I have so many shirts already, and you know, this at the end of the day, it's still just a shirt. Like,
right. I know.
I would much rather have something like this. It's way cooler.
Oh, I know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm weird. You guys know that.
So this box, actually, if you look inside, well, there's a couple things. So there's some stuff printed on the box. On the fuzzy side, on the outside, it does have the OO, the other one, on it. One thing that I think is interesting is that if you've ever seen a photograph of this, you have not seen what it looks like. I have not seen any photographs of this that look like what it does. It's very hard to read the words on the top of that fuzzy box. But anytime I take a photo of it, it's very clear. So I don't know. But I was going to say, on the inside, there's an even harder to read set of credits, which does actually say photography, Susu Metal, Progress M. So someone got credit for these.
Nice.
And actually, also art direction and design is credited to Yoda Metal. And it says, what does it say? Rokushiki. As the, I think that's the company, basically. And you can figure out who that is. That is somebody he did the art. I think he did the art for something else as well. This is somebody who's been here from the beginning, this art director.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, that was interesting. I should have looked that up, because I did. If you sort of Google, maybe somebody can even try it now, Rokushiki and Yoda, you will find. I think it was like a graphics tablet company did a profile of him.
Oh, interesting.
So, yeah, it was on the Wacom site. They make graphics tablets.
Oh, Wacom. Wacom.
I don't know.
I'm tired. Remember.
I have no idea. Well, I have only read it. I have never heard it. So, if you've heard it in some other way,
I don't know. I don't think I've ever actually pronounced it like openly. Like I've seen it like 50,000 times.
Okay.
Wacom.
Anyway,
that's how I've always heard it.
Okay, so three different options. But I guess this must be the graphics tablet that Koji Yoda used. So it says in this little profile, art director and graphic designer Koji Yoda is best known for his album cover art of popular Japanese rock bands. Such as Dirt and Grey, Gazette, or his work for the first album. Oh, that's right. For the first album of the rock sensation BABYMETAL. What Koji Yoda was responsible for was the special edition cover of the first album. That sort of, like with the three red coffins in the gray cathedral.
Yeah. That's good.
So that's cool, because it does mean that he's been doing this throughout.
Been a hot minute.
Yeah. So yeah, Light and Darkness. There's not much to say about that.
The mirror one's pretty cool, I think.
I mean, it's basically just some of these, like Light and Darkness and Mirror also, and also I think the Reverse Mirror, whatever that one was called. It's a lot of sort of like regular photographs, photoshopped up. Yeah. Anyway, so look at the cards. You'll like them.
Yeah. There's a lot of them. It'll take some time.
Yeah. Oh, I think that actually was one of the things I was going to say, that it is a problem that there are so many, because like now what do you do? I think Kevin, you were saying that it's like they're just going to stay in the box.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with them. There's so many,
yeah.
And they're so big.
Yeah, it would be a significant commitment just to hang like 4 of them. They're like 6 by 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty big. Like I said, worth the money though.
Yeah, and yet inconvenient.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's all part of the sort of half troll that all this is.
Yeah. But the whole reason you buy this thing is to get to the hand cut piece of acrylic underneath it.
Yeah.
All of these wonderful photos.
Yes.
I wonder if that is. I mean, I think it isn't really hand cut, but it is designed to look like it is. I don't know.
Maybe
it's a little transparent circle that says the other one, and then has the access code in it. But it has an irregular edge, and
it does,
which was mocked in cartoons.
I don't know. It looks hand cut to me.
Really?
Same.
I think it would be harder to build a machine that makes unique cuts to look handmade than to just hand cut them.
Well, but how many do you think they sold? I mean, okay, so here's the reason. My reason for thinking that they're not hand cut is that I think the thing that it sits in. So there's a little circular cutout that it sits in, and it also has those irregular edges to it, which I think match. Do you see that? I don't know if you have it in front of you.
Wait, in the
cardboard that's around
the holder?
God, let me open my box.
Yeah.
I'm not in a position to go grab mine. It's halfway across the room on top of my vinyl player because I have literally nowhere else to put it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at a photograph I took of it, but it has my code in it. I guess it doesn't matter. I've used a code already, but
okay, yes, I agree. It is also has the same like hand cutout shape, but mine does not match.
Okay. I wonder, actually, that would be an interesting thing to do, is to compare discs and see if the discs have the same irregularities. But there's at least one fan cartoonist who had a little picture of I think actually it was all 3 of them, but it was at least Sue and Moa sitting there cutting out these little circles.
Aww.
The code format it used to be the one codes. They started with a letter that was spelling out baby metal. So the first year it was B, and then it was A, and then it was B, and then it was Y. This one starts with a T. But
I had no idea that was a thing.
Oh, go back and look at the one codes. You'll see that that one was E and one was T and one was A or something.
Yeah, they do that. They did that for tickets and stuff too.
Yeah.
Today I learned.
Yeah.
You learned a thing.
I did.
Excellent.
I don't think I'm heartbroken that trend is no longer continuing.
Yeah, but I think it's so. This one starts with T, but I don't think it followed properly. Like I don't think it was E before and M before that. So anyway, that's all right. I don't think there's really much else we need to talk about the box.
Well, it did. Well, I was going to say it did have a nice ribbon for it to pop out the pictures on. So that was nice. You didn't have to you did still have to kind of grab and try to get them all at once, but it did have that nice ribbon that you could at least attempt to get them all out.
Yeah, it was. I think it was fairly well designed. Actually, a lot of the one sets, they have a little cardboard, sleeve or sled or something that you can pull the things out with, and the ribbon. I think that is exactly what it was for. Is to lift out the photos without having to grab at their edges.
Right. Exactly.
But yeah, I don't know. There was this warning about don't keep opening the box, or it'll lose its structural integrity or something like that. And I'm not quite sure.
I missed that.
Oh well, that was we talked about that last time with when they were trying to figure out is it
the translation? That's right.
Yeah, because the hypothesis. My hypothesis had been that it was like a 3D glasses that you couldn't keep playing with, or they'd fall apart. But I don't know what they're talking about here. I guess maybe if you keep taking the photo cards out and putting them in again, at some point you might stress it out.
Possibly. I mean, it is pliable, I guess would be the word.
So these were supposed to be available. I forget now what it was, like April 19th or something, I think was the last day that you could order them. And then at that point, I think they may have actually stopped selling them briefly, but then there's a second batch. And the deadline for ordering those was May 10th, and they would ship in July. But then once May 10th showed up, they said, well, actually, the deadline's May 31st.
Oh, did they?
But they'll still ship in July. So, so there's going to be a second wave of people getting this box in July. And it kind of seems like they made a second order because the first one sold out, but then the second one didn't sell as well as they were hoping. So, because I don't think they're making more new ones, because all of them are still going to ship in July.
Right.
So, which I suppose just tells us that this is going to go through at least July.
Yeah, that's exactly the conclusion I wanted to draw from that, is that once we start talking about the gallery, I think we probably can guess that it's not going to fully open until those people get their boxes, which is annoying, but
that seems plausible.
Yeah.
Okay. The other one, digital gallery.
Yes.
So, one thing that you had to do to get access to this was, and we talked about this last time, have a Muse ID, an AID. I think all of us already had one, right? So
I did.
I had a separate one from my metal name, because what had happened was I have two separate emails, and my old one was for the one website, and then for the Budokan live stream, I used my new email. Well, when I went to go sign up with my code from the other one, it let me use my the one email to sign up, and I didn't have to go through a whole bunch of other stuff to do anything with it. Interesting. So, yeah. So it pulled the information, it almost like it transferred those emails into an a Smart ID or an AID automatically, I think. Because I didn't have, other than trying to translate everything, but other than that, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they already automatically transferred it.
And I had an AID from a long time ago. I subscribed to Stolabo Tokyo, and then also the live stream. So I already had it, but getting it is a pain. And
it is a royal pain.
And it's all in Japanese. And it's
actually well, you're saying it's all in Japanese, but there was some of the form where you would scroll down and it would be in, kanji, whatever. And then there'd be the random 2 or 3 words of countries that their language was not primarily English, yet their country was spelled in English. It was a little weird.
So you weren't running through the translator. You were looking at the original Japanese page, and it did that.
Yes.
Huh.
Yeah, it was a little odd.
They had this opportunity to make this broadly accessible, to people who are willing to pay for this at least, and you really had to just push through this with Google Translate or something. I mean, it was. And actually, the other thing, even though I had an AID, I still had the registering for the other one still had a separate kind of thing that you had to do. And among the things you have to do, you have to tell them what your profession is. Why? Who knows? You have to tell them. And the form was set up in this really dumb way where you have to tell it that the prefecture you're in is foreign. And then once you do that, then you get to choose a country.
And not only that, but you had to figure out which country it was by finding the kanji and katakana of your country.
Yeah. That was where I was headed with this. It's so unfriendly. I mean, I happen to know how to read, America, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's always, there was actually always the risk that it was going to be like American Samoa or something like that. But I mean, like, I just assumed since I got the first part, that was good enough. But anyway, yeah, they made it a challenge to get in here.
I don't understand why. Still don't.
It's expensive.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, so I know we're going to be talking about the digital gallery a bit more here in a second, but you had said something about, Kevin, you had said something about a software program or something that they had used, like, and you were like kind of impressed with it. I would figure that, you know, I don't know. I just, I'm disappointed. I'm so disappointed.
I guess the expense, the cost that you were talking about, Kevin, was the cost to sort of like recreate this in English or English and other languages, right?
Yeah, I'm sure it was just cost prohibitive. Like, people don't really understand, unless you're in the industry, just how expensive it is to do enterprise level web development, which is what this is. Like, we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars a day, you know, in development. So yeah, I'm annoyed. I echo all of what you just said. I'm annoyed. They made the process is difficult if you don't speak or read Japanese. But I understand it, because there's no way that they were going to build their own login and capture all the same thing, meet the same technical requirements as the AID in a more friendly way without spending a ton of money on development.
Yeah. See, okay, here's the thing that bugs me about that possibility is that we all did the live ship stream and it was nowhere near this complicated, and it also relied on the AID, which means we know that less complicated thing can talk to the AID. So they sort of specifically decided we need to know your profession, you know, and so we're going to make our own new form. And
that's why I qualified what I said with, you know, what that meets their requirements, right? Yeah. We don't know what their requirements are. For whatever reason, they decided they need all of this extra stuff that the AID captures when you create an account. We want that. We need that going forward. You know, we could speculate as to why. I doubt it has anything to do with product or merchandising or anything like that. It's probably a simple business reason. You know, they want the data so they can sell the data, like, you know, every other company on the planet. You know, so somebody in a boardroom decided that's the way it was going to go. And, you know, the system exists. They didn't want to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to develop something Western friendly. So they just pulled the trigger, threw what they had in production, and said, good luck.
Yeah.
They'll figure it out.
And the people who are sort of hardcore enough to know about this thing and order it managed to get in, I think. But it wasn't easy for any of them. So, yeah. I don't know. Anyway. Okay. Let's see. So, it opened as promised on April 27th at noon. And so once you went through all the process of sort of getting entered in, and getting access, then we were presented with the gallery, basically, and so, you know, it gives you a little logo at the beginning, and you scroll down a little bit, and then it tells you how to operate it, and operating it basically just involves kind of like rotating it around, or you know, sort of moving yourself through this kind of like what looks to me like an asteroids field or something, with 10 little spaces in it. It's graphically really nice, actually.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and in fact, actually, one thing that I don't know if we talked about this last time, because I think we could have known last time, but the web developer or the designer took credit for it. I mean, there's a tweet out there. It says, like, you know, this is mine. It's open. It's great. You know, or whatever.
Oh, I missed that.
And I've since lost the tweet, so I'll have to go find it again. I don't know who to credit, but it is possible to find the designer of the site out there, which I think is kind of cool.
It's pretty neat. It's nice that, I don't know, as big of a name, because I don't know, you normally don't see a whole lot of that with other bands, I guess. I don't, or at least I don't personally see that with a whole lot of other bands, by, the credits given to whomever does whatever. But that happens a lot in baby metal, and I kind of like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of thought it went the other way, actually. That like liner notes and stuff usually at least contain hints of who the people are, but with baby metal stuff, it always tends to be like somebody's pseudonym at best. It's like something metal. It's like, I don't know who that is.
Yeah,
half these people have the same metal name anyway.
Right.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty modern. I poked around the back end a little bit. Yeah, this is probably the most modern tech I've ever seen on a Japanese website. Not that I spend my time going through lots of Japanese websites, so take that with a grain of salt. But generally speaking, they're awful and look like they were made in like 2007 and haven't been updated since.
Right.
So this is a cool take on a modern technology. It uses an open source engine to do all this stuff that's crazy popular. And probably wasn't super cheap to do. I would imagine the people that know how to use this stuff are not cheap to work with.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh no.
Yeah. So the tweet, it's from the person's handle is Icario, something like that. Ikeryon in Roman letters, and it says, achievements. The website of Baby Metal, the other one, has been released. I was in charge of the front end implementation and background motion programming. Please take a look. So
yeah, sweet.
That is cool.
And we are impressed.
Yay.
I think it looks nice.
Yes.
I think the navigation on it is a little clunky after using it a while, but whatever. I will wait to see how it progresses.
Honestly, I found it pretty intuitive because this is pretty modern and trendy development, at least over here in the States. So I kind of knew what to do right away.
Yeah, I guess the thing that bugs me, like, okay, so you have these 10 different areas, the coffin, illusion, smoke, cavalry, all those ones that we had from before. And there's a sort of like there's a spot in the sort of rotating world, and you can sort of push it left and right to move the window to looking at the spot, that you want to look at. And for some of them you can get in. So you can get in a little bit. So cavalry and mirror and light and darkness and something else.
Illusion.
Yeah, you can click on them, and then it will put up a little sort of like splash page, and then have a little next button, and then you can click on the next button and see the thing we'll talk about in a second. And then if you want to get back, you have to hit close, this little tiny button in the middle, and then you have to hit top, this super small thing in the lower left corner, and that's the thing that bugs me about the navigation. Like, it's not that I don't know how to do it, but I have to find that stupid little, very small target.
Yeah, that's true. It is kind of tiny.
But okay. So anyone want to talk about what happens if you open one of these illusion, cavalry, mirror things?
Sure. So they all have, when you click on one of the things you're allowed to open, you're presented with the name, a next button, and then you get a distorted image and a sound file. The sound files are different for each of the sections we can get in. We can get into 5 of the 10 we can see. And they're super different. I think the going around speculation is, or maybe hopium is, that maybe there's snippets from a new album that's being teased. But there's some pretty cool stuff going on.
Oh yeah.
When you check these out,
like great.
Frankly, the images, they look like just kind of distorted versions of the photo shoot from the box.
Yeah.
So I don't really care about those. But the music snippets all kind of slap. Like,
oh yeah,
there's some good ones in there.
I'm excited.
Definitely made me excited to see where it goes from here.
Yeah.
It's a little, or at least seemed to me, it's very, what do they call that? Well, it's definitely, I feel heavier, but there's like a term for it. Like very...
Gent?
Yeah. Like very, I guess kind of along the lines of like Bring Me the Horizon. Like very, very tech metal,
yeah,
I guess.
It's very electronic, yeah.
Yeah, very electronic for sure. And me personally, I am all for that.
They're all very different, though. There's a couple that are very electronic. There's some that are not, and just sound
but
like
definitely heavier sounding.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me sort of back up and abstractly mention what we're hearing here. So like they're usually like from about like 6 seconds long to 20 maybe. I mean they're all short. And they generally have been. It seems like it's not just like a portion of the song. It's a track from a song, right? I mean, it's like it's not mixed yet. You know, sometimes it's just one instrument. Sometimes it's maybe like the drums and a guitar or something. You know, but
it's a MIDI file for sure.
It's something that's not fully collected yet. You know, it's just
right, and it's not a real instrument. It is a digital representation of an instrument.
Well, I think I'm not sure that that's in every case true. I think that
really, it all sounds like MIDI files to me.
There's one of them had a guitar. Well, okay, so actually this brings me back to another point about this, which is that there are 4 different things in here that we can hear and see stuff from. However, they've been changing, and so you can hear one little snippet, and then you know, like a day or so later, it'll get replaced with a different one, and you can never hear the first one again.
We don't know that.
Well,
they could come back.
It's possible that they might. Yeah, it's conceivable that later on they could say, "Here were all the snippets that we used." But likely, it feels like what's happening in each of these areas is that we're getting partial tracks of it and different spots in the song, and so like the sensible thing is going to be that at the end, rather than saying, "Okay, now you can have access to all the little snippets again," it's just going to be the assembled music.
Maybe.
But anyway, so the thing is that unless you're diligent about capturing it or know somebody who's been capturing it, then if you come to it late, like in July, you will not hear all those things. You only hear whatever the most recent one was. So I think looks like I have 4 for Mirror, 1 for Light and Darkness, 5 for Cavalry, and 4 for Illusion. So, but you only hear the highest number of those, you know, in the gallery if you go look now.
Okay.
So it's interesting because it sort of keeps you on your toes. You have to always kind of pay attention, but at the same time, it's kind of frustrating that you can't say, "Oh well, you know, like I just did. I think that's a real guitar or whatever," because that's like 3 editions back. So you know, but there was one where it kind of reminded me of. When I listened to it, I thought this sounds like, you know, the Polyphia guys noodling around.
Maybe a little bit, yeah. No, I totally get that. There was one that sounded kind of like that.
Yeah, and let me see. I'm going to quickly just see if I can figure out which one it was. Yeah, it was Mirror for sure.
Yeah,
one of the Mirror ones, and so.
It was the one with the really low bass.
I don't know. I mean, there was one that was really it was just a guitar, pretty much.
Okay.
And but when it really did feel like that, you know, it felt like the kind of thing you would hear Polyphia doing, you know. But I couldn't actually. I thought it was actually something that I could identify with one of their songs, and I couldn't quite make that. I feel like I'd heard it, but anyway. So when they add these, you know, replace or add things to the gallery, they tend to either put on TikTok or Instagram or tweet something. It's often an Instagram story that says like some percent complete. So it started off as 3% complete, and then I think it went to 5, and I think the most recent one we had was 8, maybe.
That sounds right.
So, and it's been, I don't know what, a week and a half, something like that.
Something like that.
So, it seems like if this is the rate we're going, it's going to be a long haul.
Yeah.
Well, as we speculated, at least through July.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and it seemed like for up until like yesterday, it seemed like, all right, well, at least we're going to get Mirror and Cavalry and Illusion first, because those are the ones that kept getting updated, and we couldn't get into any of the other ones. But then, just I think yesterday, we got the first one from Light and Darkness, which means like, now we're not proceeding on the other three.
Right.
So who knows? It could be that one's going to complete before the rest of them, and we'll find out what happens when one completes. Or it could be that, we just have to wait till the whole thing hits 100%.
Yeah, we still are kind of in the dark.
Yeah.
In some cases.
So I would say one thing that people have often complained about, which it irritates me a little bit, I guess, is that, like they say, oh, well, this, what good is this? This was very expensive for just a bunch of little snippets. And so my hypothesis about this hasn't changed, I don't think, from before, which is that, we're getting these little things and they probably do form a song. I think probably individually, there's probably 10 songs represented here, but that's not the gallery. That's like the ambient music for the gallery. And like at some point we're going to be able to get into these spots and there's going to be something behind those doors. But it doesn't seem like we're going to get there very soon.
Correct.
And the other thing about the songs that we're building is I am still kind of skeptical that this is going to turn into like the fourth album. Because I don't think they're going to first of all release it to only the people who paid for the thing. That wouldn't make any sense. And
right.
It also sort of seems like if they teased it out to all the people who care enough to get this thing like that over months, then when you actually get the thing, it's not going to be very impressive because you're going to be like, oh, I've heard this all already.
Right. True. That's a good point.
So what I think is going to happen, I don't know if that's actually the case, but I mean, like, I think that what we're building is actually sort of more like a soundtrack to the gallery. Like, I think that we might get those songs, but I don't think they're going to be the fourth album. I think they're going to be like the gallery soundtrack.
Quite possibly.
So maybe they'll have like the album, like, and then if someone is part of Amuse, listen up. Anyway, so possibly that'd be a kind of a neat idea, is to have the one edition of the fourth album with maybe and having a second CD of the soundtrack of the digital gallery. That'd be kind of neat.
That I like that, but I definitely like the concept of a soundtrack for this rather than an album. Of course, everybody immediately jumped as soon as there was 2 notes in the gallery. Everyone said, "Oh, this is a new song from the new album," which but.
Well, the thing is we really don't know. It did say. The whole kit and caboodle there at the beginning did say it's supposed to be like a conjoining of things in different orders. It did say. Did it specifically say new music?
No.
It did not. Okay, but it did say music.
It
did say music.
Yeah, it did say music, and it did say visuals, and it said never before seen. But it also it cast all this stuff in this kind of like reconstruction, alternate dimension kind of language. So, so that's another reason why it doesn't seem like we're talking about like the future direction here. We're talking about like this is kind of something to occupy us while we wait for the future to get here.
I wouldn't be surprised.
So I don't like, for example, like whatever living legend is, that's not this. That's after this.
No. Yeah.
But okay. So one thing I was playing around with in my mind, and I don't know what I think about this, but if what we're looking at is kind of like an alternate universe, it could be sort of like a reimagining of prior songs in some way, right?
Okay.
I thought that idea came to me when I was listening to that guitar and thinking that sounds sort of Polyphia-y. It wouldn't make any sense for Polyphia to be participating again, really, in like a new thing, but I could see them
helping
in some kind of mashup. Like if they're doing some new version, some different version of Brand New Day, for example, they could have them come in and do that. If they're doing a different version of Papaya, F Hero could participate in that, which is we now have two of the collaborators, at least in my head, in showing up here. So I don't know. The part of what I was thinking about was this is a group that probably nobody knows, but there was a group I was following at least for a while in the distant past called The Residents. Have either of you heard of these guys? They're
The Residents?
Yeah.
Nope.
That sounds familiar, but I've not actively listened to them, no.
Okay, so they are... One of the things they were sort of famous for was their anonymity. They would perform in these like big... they had this like giant eyeball thing they would wear on their head. Well, let's see. That's part of the story is not so important. The main thing is that when I think it was their 20th anniversary, they released a greatest hits kind of best of sort of thing, except they decided that instead of doing that, what they would do is kind of take combinations of their older songs and like mash them together. So
that sounds interesting.
So it was sort of half of one song and half of another blended together in a weird way that made little sense, but you could still see the component parts, and I thought that would be kind of a cool idea to do if that's what they were, if what they were talking about was like an alternate dimension and they're involving people that they had involved before, but now we've got F Hero and his interpretation of No Rain, No Rainbow or whatever, right?
Linkin Park did that in 2000 or whatever with their second album. It's basically just a remix of the first album.
Oh, Reanimation. Yes.
Yeah. So that, I think that would be kind of a cool thing for them to do. If they wanted to, make something that wasn't really a fourth album, but it was still something sort of new, and it was okay to hide it behind the gallery. Making something that is this kind of mashup that is sort of intrinsically a B-side, right? Would work pretty well.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, it would.
That's interesting.
That would be it, yeah.
And the other thing is that it does feel like some of these concepts you can kind of tie in to older songs. I mean, like, Coffin sounds like Baby Metal Death. Cavalry sounds like Road of Resistance. I'm not sure exactly what all of them are, but it feels like you could connect them to something in the past.
Sure.
I mean, they did kind of poke and prod about that sort of thing. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll just have to see, I guess, as always.
Yeah. I mean, I think my actual prediction, and it's actually a little bit dangerous to make predictions on a podcast that someone could listen to 3 years from now, since it could just be plain wrong. But I am expecting something a little bit more like a traditional exhibit, behind these things, that there's going to be like photos from a tour or little recordings of a camera angle we didn't have before or something like that.
The long lost From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah, well, maybe, but if they don't own this might have even come up here at some point, but there's this long running science fiction program, Doctor Who, right? And it started in, I think, 1963. It was in black and white. It was running for a long time. But sometime, I think it was probably in the 80s, the master tapes, someone decided to throw the master tapes away or record over them or whatever. So there's a chunk of Doctor Who history which is just plain gone. Like, sometimes people, some of these things can get recovered because some affiliate station somewhere had a copy, or someone recorded it off their TV or something like that,
Right.
For the ones that are missing, sometimes there have been reconstructions that people have made. Like they know what the plot was. They maybe have the script, but they don't have the actual footage. Maybe it's like for part 3 of a 4-part thing, and so they'll recreate it. They did
they did the it was one of the Fourth Doctor scripts, and they did it as an animation. It was called The Lost Something or Other, but yeah.
And I believe the BBC actually released some of them like that. I mean, like, it's not entirely fan made.
No, it was an official BBC release.
Yeah. And all of that story was just to say maybe that's what they can do if they don't own the footage for the for the Palladium. They could make an animated version of that Palladium show.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
That would be pretty funny, actually.
Yeah.
Particularly if it came with the story of why it's the animated version.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that would be because it's in the metaverse. Ooh.
Yeah, and maybe that's the place where, those 11 people can wear their digital shoes.
Yes.
Anyway, yeah, so it's going to be a while before we know what's in there. I suspect that no actual room is going to open. I believe there are going to be rooms, and I don't think any room's going to open before the July people get their box.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a reasonable assumption.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Anyway, I feel like I've been just talking and talking. And somebody else say something.
I don't know if there's really anything more to say. Like, we're at 8%. It's going to go for a while.
Mm-hmm.
The box is nice, surprisingly so. The digital gallery is interesting.
It's actually worth the money.
Yeah.
It is a lot to drop at once, though, but still.
Yeah. But it's entertaining, and with air quotes, us for quite a long time. I mean,
true.
It's dripping out over months, it looks like. So I wonder actually what we're going to talk about next time. I mean, like it's next time we record it, we probably don't want to just talk about the next 6 snippets that have shown up. So I don't know. We'll see. We've definitely been recording at a much slower pace during this sealing time.
Mm-hmm.
But,
yes. Accurate.
By the way, I don't remember if we talked about the Metallica black box last time, did we?
We did.
Okay.
I brought it up.
Okay. Excellent.
Oh, yeah, actually, yes. Yes, you did.
Because that, it does seem like we might be able to get a clue from how that's laid out, what we might expect here, but I don't know. And it is also a good question as to, once this is all over, to what extent is it just lost to history? Like, is there any way that someone who shows up in the fan base 2 years from now is going to be able to get whatever content's in the other one digital gallery? Who knows?
Fair enough. Yeah, true. How accessible will it be after all this?
And I mean, someone's going to capture it because it's digital, but I mean, like, is there a way to buy it? Is, I guess, what I'm kind of wondering. Is there going to be a soundtrack and that kind of thing?
Officially, I don't know that they care. Like, I can't think of, you just can't. How do you future-proof anything like that for where you might be doing in 2 years? You just can't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could imagine that they would release something like what Maggie suggested, like as a second CD on the next one edition, for anything that's sort of that kind of thing. I was thinking the one sort of thing that they could put in this digital gallery, which would be not very easily captured or distributed, would be like an actual, sort of interactive experience. Like if you're walking around a community of people virtually, like, some kind of themed Second Life or some sort of thing, or just, like a whatever modern shooting game where you're not shooting people. If that's the kind of thing where you can't really put that on a Blu-ray, you're either experiencing it or you're not. So.
True.
And that kind of just sums up digital product.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
I should say, I mean, this is way off on a tangent unrelated to what we talk about, but those things, like all the sort of online games now, are completely unbackupable. So like it's often the case that for us, say, we look back on the times we were in high school and whatever the sort of like gaming environment was then, and we think of it nostalgically, and we like to play those games again. And my high school was long enough ago that I can do that. Anyone who's growing up now is not going to be able to do that because the servers are going to be dead. And that's where the entire thing lives. True.
In fact, my roommate is playing WoW 1.0 on a private server right now.
Yeah.
But you have to be able to get the server. I mean, like, that's the thing. Like, that's
the easiest part.
that's the easier part.
Getting the server software?
Yes. It
absolutely.
Is. Oh, very much so. Very much so.
Well, I am skeptical. I mean, maybe this particular one was easy, but I think that, because they put in it, a lot of these games have fairly strong, piracy controls for right now, which are going to be a pain in the neck later, right? When the source key server is no longer running. Anyway, whatever. The more things exist, the other thing is sort of similarly, even if you get that software, what people enjoy right now is running around in this world with a bunch of other people. And if you're all by yourself in that world, 35 years from now.
It's not fun. It's not fun. I will attest to that. It is not fun to be by yourself, and the term you're looking for, Paul, is MMO, massive multiplayer online.
Right. Yeah, and so I guess what I'm thinking is that you can't recreate that experience, even if you could maybe get the server running. It's an experience that the nostalgic people of the future are not going to be able to have access to, which is frustrating
to some degree. Yeah, no, that's true.
And it's unlike the people who grew up with Pac-Man and can just play Pac-Man.
Although then again, that's getting hard too, because most of everything is updating on you can download this game now that was out on the Super Nintendo 50,000 years ago. Now you got a digital version. It's I still kind of like to play it on my Super Nintendo.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, so that was a long tangent digression on what happens if they did something like an MMO in the gallery.
Baby Metal MMO.
Yeah.
Boy.
I don't know what kind of game aspect there could be to this.
I don't know either. I mean, they could probably come up with some stuff with it being a metalverse. I'm sure there'd be concepts galore. It's just a matter of we're kind of just lost at the moment.
I don't know if they weren't willing to do the development to make an English version of the AID to make it easier. There's no chance in hell that there's going to be an interactive game experience of any flavor.
True.
Well, I think not with. I think the idea of having many people interacting together is probably not likely unless they just plain license somebody's platform. But I think there could still be a single player game in there somewhere.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll see.
That would be pretty surprising.
That would be very surprising.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know if I would find it surprising or not, but we will find out one way or the other, and some of us will be surprised.
Eventually.
Okay. Anyway, yeah.
Eventually, yeah.
So we're clearly, it's much later in the day than we are used to doing this, and everybody's mind has just started.
Oh, mine's mush.
Disintegrating.
It's silly hours.
Yeah.
It's silly hours right now.
So I guess we can probably wrap this up. But anyway.
Oh yeah.
Things are still happening. More things are happening than we thought maybe were going to be happening. So they're still sealed, but yet there's stuff to talk about from them officially.
Baby Metal still exists. That's what matters.
Yeah. And so do we, for that matter.
And it's not just NFT too. Sneakers.
Yes.
It's now also.
I guess we did. Did we talk about the reveals of those? I don't know if we did or not. Now that I think about it, but they're all really cool. Anyway.
Yeah. They all sold. They gave one away. We know who they gave the one away to. So in fact, actually, when
personally,
the actual sneakers arrive, we might be able to hear something about what they are like.
Hopefully high quality.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. Sorry, tangent done. Finished.
All right. So who knows when we'll be back? But there'll be something to talk about. Maybe we can talk about the past again if we don't have anything new. But all right, Kevin's hungry.
Yeah, I'm hungry. I hunger.
Okay, so that is it for this episode. You can join us on the Baby Metal Podcast Discord to continue the conversation. Rating the podcast on whatever platform you listen on will help people find it, so please do that. We'll be back here at some point, and we hope you'll join us then. And until then, see you.